Welcome back to the Brothers War EDH. My name is Ryan. This is Chris, and today we are bringing you our top 10 plus a shout out of our multicolored cards in the Brothers War sets. We're going to start off this list with our shout out. It's going to be Takashi, Digsite Mentor. It's a 4-mana Bant commander. It's a human artificer. Creatures you control have vigilance and tap surveil 1. You can pay two colorless, 2 green, 2 white, 2 blue to exile Takashi from your graveyard. Return any number of target artifact cards with total mana value 10 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery. You know, you think that like Surveil is more of like a black ability, right? You know, maybe like blue, black, but you know, it's cool that, you know, it is in these colors. You know, it kind of fits, you know, the flavor of Takashi herself, and you know, it is pretty cool. It's a, you know, it's a 4/3 for 4, which isn't that bad. Mm-hmm. But the ability underneath it is it's pretty expensive. You know, if we're able to get it, you know, to pull it off, you know, hopefully you'll be able to win the game off that. But it is very expensive for that ability.
Yeah, I can't think of anything to really win the game, but the thing I think of is just 0 mana artifacts. Like it says total mana value 10 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So if you can fill your graveyard up with a lot of 0 mana artifacts, I mean, those are free.
Right.
So like you can add those into your 10 mana value or less. I don't know if there's any combos with this card. I haven't looked into it, but it does seem pretty interesting, giving your creatures the ability to give you some form of card advantage. And then putting into your graveyard if you have like graveyard synergies. I think that it's a pretty cool commander to build around.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't really force you into any niche. It's pretty broad too, so I kind of like that. Number 10, we have Sahili, Filigree Master. It is a 4 mana is it and 2 for a legendary planeswalker Sahili. It's got a +1 scry 1. You may tap an untapped artifact you control if you do draw a card. -2, create 2 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature tokens with flying. They gain haste until end of turn. -4. You get an emblem with artifact creatures you control, get +1/+1, and artifact spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, and it starts with 3 loyalty. So it's a pretty cheap planeswalker at 4 mana, and it also has the ability to come down on turn, earliest 2-3 maybe?
Yeah.
And get a plus and then immediately ultimate the next turn. I actually think that this card is sneaky good. You know, in those is it artifact lists, which is getting a lot of support recently.
Yeah. You know, and just especially if you're going wide, like the +1/+1, you know, people might be like, oh, well, that's not really that good. But you know, all you're like, you know, maybe you're playing a deck that runs like, you know, it's like a Thopter tribal deck or a Mirror tribal deck. You know, they're all going to get that. And +2, if you can be able to get this back up there, you just do it again. Yeah. And you'll get another emblem. It seems pretty easy to be able to get that -4, and if you're able to do it multiple times, you know, plus you gain card advantage, and you know, it makes those tokens too. So overall, pretty well rounded, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, turn 1 mana crypt, land, and Chrome Mox into this.
Man,
seems pretty good.
Yep, that is freaking good.
Yeah.
Moving on to number 9 on our list, we have Third Path Iconoclast.
Yes.
Iconoclast. It's a 2 mana human monk. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature token. You know, non-creature.
Yeah.
You know,
2 mana.
Yeah. 2
creates
mana.
Artifact creature tokens.
Yeah.
You know, artifacts, you gotta be careful with that. You know, artifacts can be busted really easily. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's 2 mana too.
Yeah.
It's like it's not that bad. And, you know, artifacts are also non-creatures. So, you know, if you're playing like some like low CMC artifact deck that has blue-red and you want to just make tokens. Yeah. Really, really easy. It's like, you know, all your fast mana, all of your like, you know, low, you know, like baubles or you know, spell bombs, whatever. Like, you know, this just makes easy tokens. It's almost like I mean, it's pretty much like young Pyromancer, but they're freaking artifacts. So
Yep.
it's pretty good. Coming in at number 8 on our list, it's Astronaut the Uncaring. It's a 5 mana, 2 and blue, black, red for a legendary creature, human artificer, 1/4. It has Death Touch. Whenever you activate an ability of an artifact or creature that isn't a mana ability, if one or more permanents were sacrificed to activate it, you may copy that ability. You may choose new targets for the copy. So, there's a lot of artifacts and creatures that have sacrificed this to do something, and this just doubles them all. So, specifically for artifacts, you have stuff like, the baubles. You have, for like creatures, like I saw like Dothi Voidwalker, which is very strong because you get to cast 2 spells for free.
Yeah, basically,
if you can be able to find just a bunch of those effects and put them into this deck, it's just crazy value.
Yeah,
and there might be some maybe some like infinite loops that people haven't really looked into.
Maybe.
So there's always that possibility. It's just a matter of time before someone finds something with this card.
I feel the same way. I mean, if you think about it, it's basically, if you build it correctly, it's like Grixis Death Harmonicon.
Yeah. And it's cool because Astronaut's never had a card, and they put them in this set, and so it's on flavor, and Astronaut actually gets a pretty decent card in multicolor. Plus, you get the old border with this one.
Yeah, old border's always a treat for me. Next on our list at number 7, we have the Archa Mandrite. Or is it Archa Mandrite? One of those two. It's a Jeskai and 2, so red, white, blue, 2 colorless for a legendary human advisor. It's a 0/5. At the beginning of your upkeep, you gain X life, where X is the number of cards in your hand minus 4. Whenever you gain life, each advisor, artificer, and monk you control gains vigilance and gets +X+O until end of turn, where X is the amount of life you gained. Whenever you gain life, by the way.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Tap 3 untapped advisors, artificers, and or monks you control, draw a card. I think this card is pretty good. I mean, I know Ryan's been looking for a monk commander for a long time. He doesn't want to say it, but I know he has been.
Advisor commander maybe, but
no monk?
No, there's just not enough monks.
I mean, you got freaking monastery mentor.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that you can find the monk.
No, you can. There's some good monks.
It's in 3 colors, so you're getting all the monks from all those colors.
Yeah, and it
doesn't even have to just be monks.
It doesn't have to be just monks. That's what I was about to say. Like I like how they opened the variety here with advisor, artificer, and monk. So you can use the best of each one, instead of using a bunch of trash monks or trash advisors or trash artificers. One thing to note here, whenever you gain life, just whenever you gain life, it could be multiple instances.
Yep.
It's not limited to one cheat's turn. You can get some pretty beefy guys with this card. And then, it's got card draw attached to it. It's got life gain attached to it. And on top of that, I mean, this also isn't necessarily a card that you want to cast. 5 mana seems a little intimidating, but this isn't a card that you want to cast early. This is a card that you want to set up first and then cast. Yeah. So it's the mana cost isn't super intimidating to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, you want to set up for this card because you get out your creatures, and then you have some mana left. You get out the creatures first, and then you play this guy, and you start gaining life, and those creatures just they just get so much more powerful.
Yeah.
So you do want to be careful. This might be one of those cards that it's more likely going to be a commander.
Oh yeah.
Just in the 99 you might see this, but I think that people are just going to just be making this as commander. So if this isn't dealt with, their deck can really get out of hand.
Oh yeah.
You're getting the card draw, you're getting the buffs.
Yeah.
You're getting all that, all that value. And gosh, because even in it's in Jeskai colors, so you have so much protection in those colors. So this commander might be kind of hard to deal with.
Yeah. I agree. And the first ability, is just like kind of a cherry on top. It's not really anything worth mentioning. It's just cool that it has that extra ability. I mean, it could just have the bottom 2 abilities and it'd be just fine.
Right. Moving on to number 6 on our list, we have Serenth Great Worm. It's a 6 mana worm. It's in Gruul. It has trample. Whenever a land enters the battlefield, create a tap Power Stone token. And just note that.
Hold on. Does that say?
Yeah.
Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control,
under your control, no.
It's just any land from any player. I mean, would you like free real estate?
Yeah. Well, I would, and I would like it in this card because everybody plays lands. Lands is a part of the game, and you're in Gruul, so you can ramp this guy out, and you're just. I mean, yeah, the Power Stones are meant.
And not that great, but
not that great, but. If you're in the right deck that plays like, some, you have artifacts in your deck and you're trying to do artifact stuff.
Yeah.
Like this, like, this.
Not even just artifacts, like Power Stones can can be used for activated abilities. It can be used for, anything but just, non-artifact spells.
Yeah.
So it could be used for multiple.
To cast an artifact spell. So, so like, it's like activated abilities and also too, like, KCI is around. Like, I mean,
KCI is around.
Sack those to that to get.
There's ways to use your expendable Power Stones if you can't use them.
What's the card? What's the card you always kill us with? The Fireweaver guy.
Yeah, Reckless Fireweaver. Yeah. I mean, you can use makeshift munitions. Just pay one, tap the Power Stone, and sacrifice the Power Stone you tap to deal 1 damage to any target. I mean, you can do it. You can do a lot of stuff. So yeah,
this card is crazy, and 7/6 trample.
Yeah,
you can't.
It's a heavy beater.
Yeah, and it's 6 mana because normally you see effects like this on much more. I mean, gosh, the fact that it's not land, it's not under your control, but it's just any land. Because like, let's say someone's playing a deck that's like very, very like land based, and they're trying to like get as many of them as they as many landfall triggers as they can, and like I mean, shoot. Like fetch lands, you're getting 2 Power Stones off of that. Like it's
Power Stones. They don't. I'm sorry. Do Power Stones tap or do they sacrifice?
They tap.
Okay, so they just tap.
You get to keep them.
Yeah. Okay. I was just making sure for makeshift munitions that you can do that.
Right.
Yeah. Moving on to number 5. We actually had this card a little lower, but after playing with it, we realized it's a lot more powerful than we thought it was. Mishra Claimed by Gix. This is a 4 mana 3/5 Phyrexian Human Artificer, 2 Rakdos, 2 colorless and Rakdos, so black-red. Whenever you attack, each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is the number of attacking creatures. If Mishra Claimed by Gix and a creature named Phyrexian Dragon Engine, which we mentioned before, are attacking, and you both own and control them. So this is a trigger that goes on the ability you have to own and control by the time this ability resolves. Exile them, then meld into Mishra, lost to Phyrexia, and enters the battlefield tapped and attacking. So this card right here, when I played it, I mean, when I played it originally, I was like, okay, I'll probably, get a couple of life and, drain my opponents, maybe meld, but if you're swinging into an open player, I mean, it's basically double strike.
Right.
It's basically double strike, and you're gaining life, and your opponents are still losing. Like, all your opponents are still losing that. So I really like this card on the front face a lot. And notably, you don't have to attack with Mishra. It's just whenever you attack.
It just gets out of hand, especially if you have like a big board, and whatever like fodder creatures you have, they don't matter. You just you send them wherever.
Yeah.
It's just 1 extra life that your opponents lose, and that's each one of them. It's not going towards the player that you actually attack. It's like your opponents lose that much life, and you gain the life. So really each creature that's attacking whoever is also attacking your other player, the other players too.
Yeah.
And if you are dedicated into like a token, like, I mean, I can imagine this, this commander using, being like a goblin commander.
Yeah.
Just making a ton of goblins and then attacking with like 30 goblins, and then you just kill everybody, just like easy. Like it's really and 4 mana for a 3/5 too. Like
I'm waiting. I originally wanted to build this into a hate bears list. However, black red doesn't have too many, but I'm hoping. I mean, we did see Misery's Shadow. We saw the Avenger. So I mean, there is some. They're starting to support black red with some hate bears, and I would like to use this as a hate bears list.
Right.
But yeah, I think this card's very powerful.
Yes, it is.
Do we want to talk about the Lost to Phyrexia?
Oh, sure, yeah. So, when it melds, it turns into Mishra Lost to Phyrexia, and the first time that I saw these abilities, I was like, it's all right. But when you can be able to meld Mishra, like I think Chris melded Mishra, I think was like twice in our first gameplay.
In our first game, it was twice. Yeah.
Yeah. He was able to kill.
Well, it was once, but it was going to be twice, but it was removed.
Oh, right.
The Phyrexian Dragon Engine was removed before it could meld.
Right. Like he was able to almost get it twice, and just that first time. I mean, it's a 9/9 for one. That's big, and it's commander damage. But that -1/-1,
yeah,
is so good against like token decks because like it basically killed a bunch of Drew's tokens. And getting to that meld is so easy in black red because Chris plays those cards like he plays like the Goblin Welder he plays like
Unmarked Grave, easy ways to get
reanimate, Entomb. You find the Dragon Engine, you put it into your graveyard.
Well, Entomb isn't in there because of budget restrictions.
Okay.
But if I wasn't able to do
that would be a card you would put in there if it wasn't. But it. Melding in that deck is not.
It's not hard.
It's not hard.
I did it every game we played.
Compared to the Erza.
I think I did it every game we played when I was playing Mishra. So
it's insane, and it's a 9/9.
Yeah.
It's just big, and I mean, it's on ETB and attack. So when you meld, you get the trigger right there.
Yeah.
And you just get a ton of value, and if you're able to get multiple combat steps,
Yeah, it's a nutty card.
Maybe this card should be higher on this list.
Maybe.
But yeah.
Number 4, we have the rare Mishra Tamer of Makfawa, 5 mana, 3 colorless. 5 mana, Rakdos, and 3 for a legendary human artificer 4/4. Permanents you control have wards, sacrifice a permanent. Sacrifice a permanent.
Yeah.
Each artifact in your card has unearth 3, so 1 colorless and Rakdos, black red. And unearth is return the card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste, exile at the beginning of the next end step, or if it would leave the battlefield, unearth or only as a sorcery. First thing that comes to my mind is Bolas the Citadel for 3 mana.
Yeah, I mean that's all. That's it.
Yeah, I mean it's so powerful.
But it's also like I think that people don't really look at the permanents you control have ward sacrifice of permanent too much because they're like, oh well, this is all about reanimating the artifacts. But man, to even target your stuff, you gotta sack a permanent. Let's say someone is like down on their permanents, like they're missing land drops. They don't have anything to really do anything. They can't even target your stuff at all. Like
or they're gonna have to take a huge sacrifice. No pun intended.
Right, and I mean, unearthing any artifacts because if this was like artifact creatures, I'd be like, oh okay, we got another one of those. But it's just
artifacts.
And if you're making like a lot of mana, like if you got like freaking dockside stuff in here, you can be able to really churn through your deck, and assemble a win while making it hard because with Mishra it's hard to even target your stuff. So it's almost like you're protecting whatever kind of like combo, or if you're even trying to just like bring like a big fatty artifact to the battlefield. It's like, oh well, if you want to do anything, you got to sacrifice a permanent. It's pretty good. The Bolas of Citadel part was just like you find Bolas of Citadel, you put it in your graveyard, you unearth it, you combo off for the win in some form or fashion. So
yeah, or you can just pay 6 mana for Bolas of Citadel and Aetherflux Reservoir instead of just Bolas of Citadel.
Right.
I mean, then you'll have top, and then you're good.
Yeah, I mean that's classic combo. Don't hate the game.
Yep.
Moving on to number 3 on our list, we have Queen Kayla bin Krug. It's a 3 mana.
Krug.
1 in a mountain and a plains.
Yeah.
For a legendary human noble 2/3. Pay 4, discard all the cards in your hand. Then draw that many cards. You may choose an artifact or creature card with mana value 1. You discard it this way. Then do the same for 2 and for 3. Return those to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery. Honestly, I haven't really looked too much in this. I think Chris, you've looked up more into this.
One, you're discarding all the cards in your hand and drawing that many. Now that's really powerful, anyways, just by itself. But then again, then on top of that, you get to return 3 permanents that you discarded that way, up to 3 permanents that you discarded that way to the battlefield. And it's not just artifacts or not just creatures; it's artifact or creatures. So like this, I feel like a hate bear stack shell. This is screaming that because it's a way to be able to cast multiple cards. If cast, in quotations, multiple cards.
Yeah. Without
having to cast them. You know what I mean? It's a way to get these cards out in the battlefield without you having to cast them. So you can run this with Rule of Law and it'll be really effective. And Boros, drawing cards is not really the most efficient thing in Boros, but this does it really well and without having to really do much. So I think that this card has got a lot of potential. I mean, and you're not only that, you're discarding them and drawing that many, so you're still going up on cards. I mean,
it's almost like you're just playing it for free.
Yeah, I mean,
and then you get to dig through your deck a little more.
There's a lot of value on this card, and that scenario that I just gave you is not going to be uncommon. You're going to have hate bears or stacks pieces, in a variety of ways, and this is just. I don't know. I just think that this card is very strong.
Yeah, it is.
At number 2, we have Erza, Prince of Krug, the husband of Kayla. We have a Azorius and 2, so blue, white, and 2 for a legendary creature, human artificer 2/3. Artifact creatures you control get +2/+2. You can pay 6, create a token that's a copy of target artifact you control, except it's a 1/1 soldier creature in addition to its other types, which would, with Erza, would be a 3/3. This card screams stacks to me.
Yeah.
I mean, copying your Thorn of Amethyst, copying your orbs, giving yourself a little bit more redundancy, and on top of that, they're heavy hitters. They're beaters. It's like you don't have to run creatures if you don't want to.
Right. You just make a creature out of your stacks pieces.
You don't have to feel obligated to run them, and you can lean heavily into more stacks pieces because you can make them creatures. Like you don't have to support, especially in Azorius, which has a problem with closing out games in higher power tables. You're gonna want to swing through with some stuff. You're gonna want to get through to the red zone.
Yeah, +2. Not only is it good in stacks, but it's also good in like a combo deck where you're trying to. When I first saw this, I was like, oh well, Alter the Brute just wins the game if you have infinite mana. Like there's so many ways to like win because it's just a mana sink.
That's true.
If you have some artifact that can just win the game, then you just do it that way. You know what I mean?
That's a good
There's
point.
many ways to win with this card, and and then even going wide. I think it's cooler doing it the stacks because. It's like you're controlling the game and like you play very little creatures, but then you like play this, and then you start making copies of your stacks cards, which makes it harder on your opponents, but also they can attack.
Again, this is I really like how you can play this late in the game. Like the 4 mana isn't like you don't want to play this early either.
Right.
And so what you could do is you can control the board wipe, develop your board with artifacts, just not even creatures, just keep killing the board off, and then just drop this and start copying your stacks pieces and just start taking over the game that way.
Right.
I really like how like that design that play style this rewards that play style.
Sure does. It's very
because you're not playing creatures, you're developing your board in other ways, like you know, like I said, the orbs or the trinispheres or something like that, Thorn of Amethyst, you know, stuff like that.
Plus two, you know, even like your mana rocks, like you can create a copy of your mana rocks and they just make more mana and they can attack. Moving on to our number one spot on this list.
Number one.
One that's probably
going to be seen play everywhere.
Right. It is Erza, Lord Protector. It is 3 mana, Azorius, Human Artificer. Artifact, instant, and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. It's a 2/4.
Yeah.
And then it has 7 if you and you can meld with the Might and the Weak Stone to make Erza the Planeswalker, which is a busted Planeswalker. Really having a reduction in the command zone lets you be able to make you know really easy combo decks with this card. The way that we made it on the channel, even though it is a combo deck, it wants to be more control-y to get there first. Like I'm not just trying to like turbo out Erza and then trying to hit a combo, because you know it's instants and sorceries that also cost less. And you know we do want to utilize the Might and the Weak Stone, and you know the Planeswalker, if you can be able to meld into that, like it's just really strong.
The Planeswalker is Erza Planeswalker, legendary Erza. You may activate the loyalty abilities of Erza Planeswalker twice each turn rather than once. Plus 2 artifacts, instants, sorceries you cast cost 2 less to cast, and you gain 2 life. Plus 1, draw 2 cards, then discard a card. 0, create 2 1/1 soldier artifact creature tokens. -3, exile target non-land permanent. And -10, artifacts and planeswalkers you control gain indestructible until end of turn. Destroy all non-land permanents. So, and it starts with 7. So notably, you can activate this twice. You can uptick twice, and get to that ultimate for the next turn. I think this Planeswalker is pretty powerful. I don't think it's game breaking, but it is the front side of Erza is where you want to build around, I think.
Yeah, it's you know overall it's just as far as like raw power level, just having that, and it's only 3 mana. You're in 2 colors, and you have that reduction in the command zone that you can be able to just. I mean, it's just it's just too good.
Yeah.
But that's gonna wrap us up for our multicolored cards for the Brothers War set. If you happen to enjoy this content, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on that notification bell. We're gonna keep doing these until we've gone through all of the card types. Our last one is actually going to be on colorless and lands, which we only have 1 land. But we hope you all have a good night, and we'll see y'all later.